The Pakistan Army, despite being superior in numbers and equipment in terms of well-fortified defenses on dominating heights on numerous occasions, in the 4 rounds that we have had, have barely managed to win battles. They have won very, very few battles. Battle of OP Hill was one such battle where Pakistan Army in 1965 was sitting pretty on a dominating ground in a well-fortified and coordinated defenses, but still lost the position in just one night. Despite the fact that the defenders in mountains are always at a great disadvantage. General Harbaksh Singh, retired, described this battle as one of the most spectacular battles of this 1965 war and one of the toughest fought since independence. This was a battle full of valor, heroic endeavor, fought ferociously by both sides, involving hand-to-hand combat, audacity, tremendous physical courage and sacrifice. The 3 battalions that took part in this battle lost 7 officers, 6 JCOs and 158 Jawans. The Battle of OP Hill took place after the ceasefire on 23rd September 1965. OP Hill was basically a border observation post on the ceasefire line that came up after the ceasefire in 1948 in the Bhimbar Gully called BG Mendhar sector and was approximately 20 kilometers southwest of Poonch. Initially it was occupied, but then it was abandoned in 1956 till Pakistanis decided to move in across ceasefire line in September-October 1965. This observation post was being used by the Pakistanis then to direct accurate artillery fire on the road leading to Mendhar, Balnoi, Poonch. Now, as Pakistan refused to vacate the feature, despite the ceasefire having come into effect on 23rd September, the capture of this position became necessary to avoid isolation. The Indians perhaps initially underestimated the strength and fortification of defences at OP Hill, and so the battalion level offensive launched by an infantry battalion on 6th and 7th October 1965 failed. And it was then decided to launch a full-fledged brigade attack on 2nd November 1965 because it was very imperative that time in order to avoid any isolation of Balnoi and entire Krishna Ghati. Now this attack was launched by 120 Infantry Brigade, which had 3 infantry battalions, 5 Sikh Light Infantry, 2 Dogras and 7 Sikh. The Pakistan Army had a company strength deployed in a fortified and well-coordinated defensive position at OP Hill. All the approaches leading to the top of the hill were mined and had barbed wire obstacles which were covered by well-coordinated machine gun fire and artillery fire. The attack was planned to be launched before midnight on 02nd November 1965. The attack plan of 120 Infantry Brigade was Phase 1. The left shoulder of the hill was to be captured by 5 Sikh Light Infantry and the right shoulder to be captured by 2 Dogras. And in Phase 2, 7 Sikh was to capture the center portion of the feature after the foothold has been gained in Phase 1. Now the 2 Dogras, CO Colonel Majumdar, the commanding officer of 2 Dogras, worked out a detailed plan for his unit to capture the objective. That was right shoulder. The unit's main objective, right shoulder, was divided into Black Rock and Twin Pimple. So he decided in Phase 1, 1 company and with a company in reserve to capture the Black Rock, and in Phase 2, the 2nd company to capture the Twin Pimple. Now on the night, 02nd November, as the troops started climbing up and reached closer to Black Rock, the enemy heavy artillery fire and heavy machine gun fire came onto them, and the casualties started mounting. As a result, the momentum of the attack stalled. The CEO was with the leading company. Realizing the challenge, he immediately pushed in the reserve company into attack and regained the momentum of the assault. Without wasting any time and giving any time to the enemy to readjust or reorganize his defenses, the Phase 2 company was also launched into the assault to capture the Twin Pimple. Both the companies succeeded in capturing their objectives by 0400 hours, but they suffered very heavy casualties. Meanwhile, the 5th Sikh Light Infantry, which was a new battalion, and its officers were very young. Only one company commander had more than 3 years service. As a result, the commanding officer, Colonel San Singh, decided to personally lead the assault. The CEO carried out an appreciation of the situation and realized that the enemy is anticipating an attack. The approaches to the feature must have been heavily mined, and the enemy must be having a well-coordinated defensive position with its obstacles covered by artillery fire and automatic fire. In such a situation, he appreciated if the enemy is not taken by surprise, there is a chance of suffering heavy casualties and failure of the attack plan as well. So, the CEO, in order to achieve surprise, decided to take an approach which seemed to the enemy absolutely unlikely. This entailed climbing a steep cliff to reach the top of the feature, in which barely a section could climb together in assault formation. This was a daunting task at night and could lead to heavy casualties and may also jeopardize the whole plan if the surprise is lost. Hence, prior to the D-Day, a small patrol under a young captain was sent out almost daily for a few nights to recce the whole route to the objective. This small patrol did its job with complete stealth and marked the route to the left shoulder of the dominating feature by cutting the barks of pine trees. As it was a stiff climb, the leader of the patrol, a young captain, tied ropes to the trees and also made markings on the trees so that on the night of attack, the assaulting company does not lose their way. On the D-Day night, everything depended on one factor: surprise. The battalion took the difficult approach, climbed the steep cliff with the help of the ropes, and surprised the enemy by attacking from an unexpected direction, and so in a lightning move captured its objective. The CEO, having surprised the enemy, decided to exploit the advantage and ordered the capture of more objectives which were assigned to another battalion, 7th Sikh, without waiting for further orders. The highest feature and the ground of tactical importance for the enemy was captured by midnight. The highlights of the attacks were the enthusiasm displayed by the men, the surprise achieved, and also the reading of the battle situation that enabled the CEOs of both the battalions to exploit the advantage, and of course the launching of additional attack to exploit the advantage without waiting for orders from the brigade commander. Although the enemy, despite having been taken by surprise, put up a very tough fight, and each bunker had to be cleared after hand-to-hand fighting. The Indian Army unit, both the units, after gaining the initial surprise, did not give any respite to the enemy and maintained the momentum of the assault. For taking this spectacular initiative and for displaying conspicuous gallantry and inspiring leadership, the CO 5 Sikh was awarded Mahavir Chakra, the second highest gallantry award. Now, the ferocity of the battle can be easily gauged by the heavy casualties suffered by the three units. 7 officers, 6 JCOs, and 158 Jawans made the supreme sacrifice in this battle on just one night. It's therefore not surprising that the battle finally won after such heavy casualties must have happened due to personal heroics of many individuals. Consequently, 3 Mahavir Chakras, 3 Veer Chakras, 13 Sena Medals, and 11 Chief of Army Staff commendations were awarded to the brave soldiers of 120 Infantry Brigade. It was surely a team effort, wherein everyone who was part of this epic battle had contributed and been proud of being part of it. Several examples of individual and collective acts of bravery are testimony to this fact that one single battle could produce so many gallantry award winners. Hence, it is necessary that a few inspiring incidents be mentioned. The first one is Captain Gautam Mobile. His was truly a remarkable example of good leadership, leading from the front. During the assault, when the leading company's advance came to a halt due to enemy's heavy fire, Captain Mobile volunteered and crawled forward to cut the wire fences and led his platoon from the front through the enemy minefield. A mine exploded, wounding him in the leg, but he refused to be evacuated till the mission was accomplished. When his platoon was again pinned down by heavy fire, he charged ahead, lobbing grenades to silence one of the two enemy's machine guns. Pakistani troops kept up a relentless fire, but the captain and his men unfazed continued the assault. Eventually, a burst of machine gun fire hit him in the chest and Captain Mobile succumbed to these injuries, but his men, inspired by his courage, fought hand to hand for almost 4 to 6 hours before taking possession of OP Hill at 0400 hours on 3rd November. He was awarded country's second highest gallantry award, Mahavir Chakra, for his outstanding bravery, unyielding fighting spirit and sacrifice during the operation. The second example I am quoting is of Nayak Darshan Singh. Nayak Darshan Singh displayed tremendous courage and sense of responsibility. He told his fellow soldiers that it did not matter if one person died as long as it created a path for others to attack and capture OP. When the attack was launched on the midnight on November 2, Darshan Singh marched ahead through the minefield, even after landmines had ripped off a leg and an arm. Mindful of his wounds, he dragged himself forward to an enemy bunker and threw a grenade into it. Encouraged by his action, the few remaining men of his section charged and silenced the enemy machine gun. Nayak Darshan Singh finally succumbed to these injuries, shouting to the follow-up echelons to come by the route which had been cleared of mines by the charge of his section. He made the supreme sacrifice of his life for the success of his company and displayed courage and devotion to the duty of the highest order in the finest traditions of the army. Fantastic battle. Right? Please subscribe to my channel and like it. Thank you. Jai Hind.